it's like it's a nightmare situation.
So let's go through a little bit of the background timeline, because some people have been tuned in on this, some people have been tuned out on this. So I'm going to take the initial assumption that people know nothing about this and just want the basic facts, and then run up from there, and then we can get into the crazy theories. So kind of scaling up from, okay, what happened, right? Why are we talking about this, into, okay, let's talk about the theories. So I think the first thing, this is probably the most famous picture if you're out there, you'll see of the folks. I think this is the one, and this is on a mainstream media website. So this is, probably the photo you're going to see out there.
They have the two surviving roommates that kind of cropped out on the edge there. You can kind of see.
Yes. So there's one surviving roommate, and then I guess there's another one that's cropped out on this side, on the right side, right? So left and right side.
These are the 4 victims. Yeah.
Right. So Kaylee Gonclaves, 21. Madison Mogan, 21. Okay, Xana Kernoodle, 21, 20, and Kernoodle's boyfriend Ethan Chaplin, 20. I will say you can tell they're Gen Z because of their names, to be completely honest, because they're a little bit different than a traditional.
Yeah,
spellings.
I mean, naming your daughter Zana when you have a drug problem yourself is probably not the best idea.
But yeah, so they were all murdered in the early hours of November 13th. There are no suspects right now, and the murder weapon is pretty much established as a knife. So, so guys, in a land in which they always talk about how guns are very dangerous, this was actually a knife killing, and a lot of the serial killers, a lot of the most famous killings are done with knives. Actually, if you think about it in terms of weapons, right? If you're going to actually murder somebody, especially if there's multiple people in the house, a knife is fairly silent. So yeah, I mean, that's where we're going. And yes, a big knife, apparently a very sizable knife.
It's like a typical hunting knife is what people have been looking at. People have been saying a K-bar knife. That's what the police were searching for in the hours after the event.
Right. So yeah, to go through, I did find, and there's some great information online. Luckily, we've got a lot of web sleuths out there that end up finding information on this sort of thing. A lot of people have, positive or negative things to say about the police. I know that the quote from Andrew Branca was, the police only find people when people fuck up. But in this case, there's a lot. It is kind of true. It is kind of true in a sense that, like, if you're caught, somehow you fucked up in hiding the evidence, right? But there's people out there that are spending their own time on this, like, and using the power of internet autism to try to solve this. And in many other crimes, right? I mean, we talk about Chris Chan, which is, by the way, why 200 Watt Studio said, "Wow, Andrew, nice to see Chris Chan's BFF here too."
Oh my goodness!
Oh God! And he also said, "Saw Way of Water. Didn't know it was about R. Kelly."
Oh,
I will not be seeing that's the Avatar movie, right? The new Avatar.
Yeah,
movie.
Avatar too.
Yeah, I will not be seeing that, and I think the interest for that died like 10 years ago. But that's my personal opinion.
I'm probably gonna check it out. I might do a review. We'll see.
Really,
I might see what some of the early reviews are saying. Well, I mean, there's like nothing much else on. So
see that's the problem, is that there's nothing else, so people are just going to things as desperation because they're bored. Because nothing good is being created.
I haven't been to a movie in the longest time, actually. That's kind of why I want to go to one. Like I think the last one I saw was The Batman.
No, I agree. I was exactly the same way. I went to The Batman. That was it, and only because Drex told me repeatedly it was good. But other than that, I mean, I've been just waiting for something good to go back, because I love going to the movies, but they're all shit. Maybe there's
streaming is kind of replacing it. There's a lot of good shows out there to watch.
If you're on streaming platforms, yeah. Like How to Build a Sex Room. I just saw that, come across the recommended list. Yeah. So let me go over the individual victims. So they all have their kind of IGs out there, but Ethan, of all the 4 victims, Ethan Chaplin is the only one that has a fully private Instagram. It's kind of funny because he's not funny, but
yeah.
It's I mean, guys,
did he have this many followers prior to this event? I assume most of them followed him after.
Well,
I mean, does it count as a follower if you follow them? Like,
no, he's got to accept. He's got to accept,
okay.
right? So, like, this is people that accepted. He wasn't a frat, so like you got to assume like his frat bros are in there, probably a lot of sorority girls. And guys, you got to understand, like, this is a very serious event, and I do take this very seriously. But I try to take everything in life with a little bit of levity, because that's the way I roll. That's my channel. But this is the boyfriend of Xander Kernoodle.
Yes.
This is the only guy who was a victim. So the victims were 3 females, 1 male. And he's got it private. And it's very interesting because all the girls have their profiles public.
Did you see the
very interesting,
the Venmo or Cash App of one of the girls?
Do they have Cash App? Which one has Cash App?
One of them, I can't remember which one of them is, but one of them, I think it may have been Kaylee. She had her Cash App with her public address listed on it.
Oh, did she now? Maybe they've taken that down since then.
Oh, I don't think it's connected to her Instagram, but just her actual Cash App. It had her address, which is not a great idea. Because when I was going over this, I was trying to think about like mistakes that these people made, and like it seems like the girls actually didn't really make mistakes in their night. They used a buddy system. They went out, didn't get too drunk. They took a car home. Assuming their door was locked, they really couldn't have done anything to avoid this, which makes this very scary for a lot of people. Because what can you do in this sort of situation? Of course, you could have a piece and just have it ready. But if someone sneaks in the middle of the night, they like
how are you gonna? Yeah, how are you gonna know? Especially if, like, once again, it's a guy with a knife. He's not there, firing his gun. You're sleeping and you get your throat cut when you're sleeping.
Entirely possible they left the sliding door open, or the sliding door, which we can maybe look at later. I do have a 3D model of the house we can kind of go around and do
great.
of if you want to see it later.
Great. Yeah, I have the still images, but if you've got a 3D image, that's even
better.
I've got
a 3D model, which is pretty neat.
So here's so even though Ethan's IG is kind of locked here, when you go over here and you click on Xana, right? You get over to her profile here. This is his girlfriend, right? And very clearly, she's got pictures of them posted together here on IG. Very clearly, very cute couple, very normal looking, American couple, which is, I think, just kids, right? Which just makes these things more, I think, jarring is when it's very like normal people and you can kind of see yourself in these people. And very much so, all the victims are just like regular, average, like American college students, which I think, anytime you get a story that involves regular people like that, it just tends to pop out in the media. So there's Madison. There's Xana. Here's Madison Mogan, or Maddie, I guess is what she goes by.
Yeah, Maddie.
Very normal girl, very normal pictures that girls are posting on Instagram. To be honest, guys, and some people may be more critical, but I mean, these are very average photos for like a sorority girl in a modern American like sorority. So very, very normal IG. Nothing here that's really out of place in a normal American girl's IG. And then you got Kaylee over here. Kaylee Gonclaves. Her IG, very similar. Pictures with her friends. And a lot of people are going through now, recently, and kind of posting on these photos. I think if you read a lot of these here, you'll get people posting positive messages on their
any posters from like 2 weeks ago. That would be
yeah. I mean, especially the older posts, you'll see people posting messages on their thing.
It looks like she gained like 20,000 followers posthumously.
Yeah. I mean, you got 31K over here, 25K over here, and 18K over here. These are all public profiles. So those are the victims. Where did it happen? Where did it go down? Where did this thing happen? So here's pictures of the house. So there's a first floor parking level, a second floor, third floor. Here's a different view of the parking level. This is very common, by the way. Like, I know some of you may not live in hilly areas or areas like this. When I was in North Carolina, I actually had a apartment that was very much like this. I actually rented out the first floor just for myself, and there was a separate family on the second and third floor of a place very similar to this. It actually had separate entrances, so you entered from one side and then entered from another side. And
New Zealand's really hilly. This is almost exactly what my college flat looked like when I was, going to Wellington. We have so many hills that we have all these sort of houses, like very, very typical for like a college sort of dorm or just flatting, I guess we call it.
Yeah, and this is very much like the standard here. So you can see them parking here, second floor, third floor, and then here's the layout. So the first floor, when you walk in, this is assuming from the parking area, right? There's one bedroom here, one bedroom here, laundry room, and a utility closet, probably like a water heater or something like that in there. and then you go upstairs. Second floor. This one's not labeled, but this is the second floor.
Yep. Bedroom 4 should be Zana's room, and that's where Ethan and Zana were.
So Ethan and Zana are in bedroom 4.
Yep.
Had a little closet here, window, bathroom. So they had to actually go outside to get in the bathroom. Living room, bedroom 3, and then the kitchen. Now, do you know was anybody in bedroom 3?
So bedroom 3 is an empty room, and it's empty because there was somebody on the lease, but they had left the town at this time. So it was empty for a couple months. Crazy to think about again. Like, imagine you were at this house and you finished university. You're like, oh, I'm going to rent out this room. I'm going to keep it to the lease, or I'll come back next spring or something. You decide to just leave, and then everyone else in the house, except for those 2 girls, of course, is murdered. Like, that's crazy to think about.
That is crazy. Being like, yo, I just missed that. I mean, I've had a couple of those moments in my life, honestly, where like I've been a couple seconds from being in a really bad situation. I think the closest was I was in Paris. I was going to Champs-Elysees, and I just got out of the metro, and some cops run up to me and they're like, "Yo, get back on the metro," and they're just yelling at me in French, and I'm like, what? I do not understand what you're saying. And then they say in bad English, like, get back on the metro.
Have you ever heard of Paris syndrome?
What is that?
Paris syndrome is when Japanese people go to Paris, and they get very sad, and they sometimes try and delete themselves. So there's actually like a Japanese hotline in Paris
because they're disappointed with Paris.
They're so disappointed in Paris,
because they have this image in their heads, the Japanese, particularly, I think, that Paris
is really romanticize it.
Clean, romantic, amazing place. There's dog shit on the streets. The people are rude. It's dirty. It's a real city. It's an actual city,
of course,
but actual cities are gritty, and they're not sexy. They're not what
nothing
they
like
are
Japanese streets then.
No. Did you see what happened with the Japanese during the World Cup?
Well, they clean up after themselves.
They clean up after themselves.
That's pretty normal.
The locker room required no cleaning.
Japanese people are very strict. Although when you get to Osaka, you're going to notice the difference to Tokyo.
Okay, I look forward to seeing Osaka next week.
It's a little bit grubbier.
I like it. I like the grub. I like the grub. So here we go. The third floor. Here is bedroom number 6 and bedroom number 5. So were these the other 2 victims' bedrooms?
Yes. I believe bedroom 5 is Madison's room, and I believe bedroom 6 is Kaylee's, because it has the balcony. And she also had a dog, which she shared with her ex-boyfriend, Jack, who are the person they texted 10 times between the hours of 2:20 and 2:58. I believe the report is saying now that Madison and Kaylee died together in bedroom 5.
They died together in bedroom 5.
Yes. So, which would explain something that was a bit confusing, is that like we're kind of thinking about why or who is the target, and specifically these 2 floors. Now, if one of the 2 girls, either Kaylee or Madison, were the target, they look so similar that if they're in the same room together, well, then you just take out both of them. And there was more than one person that had defensive wounds. Now, when I say defensive wounds, I don't mean like they actually fought back and it wasn't some sort of battle or anything. But like,
but like when they had their hands up like that, right?
Yeah, put your hands up. And hypothetically, the first person that's in the bed gets taken out silently. And this is the case with, at least we know, for Ethan and Zana, is that Zana had defensive wounds on her, which suggests that Ethan was taken out first, which makes sense from a strategic sort of, take out the largest target first if you're in a stealth situation. But yeah, it seems like the 2 girls were in bedroom 5 at the time, and then one of those girls received defensive wounds as well. And like some people try and make this into some sort of fantasy sort of thing. Realistically, they're probably just drunk and maybe cuddling or something. It's not like a relationship sort of thing. Just girls. Yeah. Maybe they were just sitting on the bed sort of thing.
Girls being girls, they could have been going through the gram. They could have been doing whatever. They could have been on Tinder. Like, who knows what they were doing in there? It could be anything, right? They could be doing anything. I mean, they're up at 2 a.m. I don't know. Were they drinking that night?
They were drinking a little bit. They weren't like flat out drunk or anything though.
Right.
Not crazy. They were able to get home fine. They went back and got Cabanera from the Grub truck, which is seen on a live stream, strangely enough.
Yeah.
And then before they got the ride home.
Yeah. So, I mean, none of this is like weird behavior. It's not like there's anything there that like stands out to be like really, really crazy. A couple